The race to succeed retiring U.S. Senator of Tennessee Lamar Alexander is heating up. One of those candidates is Democrat Marquita Bradshaw, an environmentalist, a racial justice activist, and a single mom. Earlier this week, she put out a rather adventurous campaign video.
Last year, when I announced my candidacy, I had to take a leap of faith. And I just want rural Tennessee to know you are what I'm fighting for. I want South Memphis to know, North Nashville to know, East Chat to know that if you felt like you've been left out before, I am the representative that's going to make sure that your voice is heard in the U.S. Senate.
So just as a reminder, you might recall that Bradshaw won the Tennessee Democratic primary with less than $20,000 in her war chest. It was a massive upset victory, and we're glad to welcome Marquita Bradshaw to the show now. Great to have you.
For having me.
My pleasure. Talk a little bit about that primary upset victory. What made you want to run in the first place against very long odds? There was like an establishment favorite candidate that everybody thought was going to win. You come out of nowhere and end up winning the Democratic nomination. What do you owe that to?
Well, it didn't happen from out of nowhere. It was a network of volunteers that we had built across the state that wanted to make sure that working people have a voice in the U.S. Senate. What made me decide to run was that when I looked across the field of candidates, they all had not had any experience in serving people in the capacity at the grassroots level. And that's what I wanted to bring to the U.S. Senate, a fresh perspective and also a perspective of working people. Right now, our U.S. Senate people are really ultra rich when they serve there. And so it is different when a person says, hey, we need to fight for $15 an hour, and I actually make less than $15 an hour.
Yeah, I mean, you really stunned a lot of people, but as you say, it's really the testament of people power over money power, and I think your campaign really demonstrates that. Obviously, you have an uphill battle for the fall, given the Republican lean of the state, but just talk about your interactions with voters, what your strategy is. What do you really see as your path to victory here?
Our pathway to victory has always been people. That's what, I grew up in a neighborhood where we were working class. We didn't have a whole lot, but we did have the love and support of people. And so the power of people is greater than money. As you saw in the primary, it would take a whole lot more than what people think in order to stop us, because we are building a grassroots network across this state, and people are getting involved, and they are diverse, and they are excited about this candidacy and the fact that we actually didn't start off by saying, hey, these are the issues that we're going to fix without talking to people first. We listen first, and that's the first part of leadership that you have to do. Listen before you lead in order to represent the people that you serve.
What are the key issues that voters are talking to you about? Are there things that you're hearing from the voters of the state of Tennessee that you're not seeing reflected in the national conversation?
Right now, everyone in Tennessee is concerned about the pandemic and making sure that their neighbors, whether they're in Shelby County or Greene County, actually have access as far as affordability and also location to health care. Because that's the only way that we can get past this pandemic, is to make sure no matter who you are, no matter how you got here, that you have patient-centered health care that's for everyone. And that's the only way that we can get through the pandemic together.
And Marquita, throughout history, the challenge to a multiracial working class coalition, which is what you'll need in order to be able to win the Senate seat this fall, challenge has always been these divisions over, basically racial divisions have always split that apart and made that project very difficult. How do you think about navigating those challenges and building that multiracial working class coalition that you'll ultimately need to be successful?
Well, we have to address what's going on with race in this American system head on. We can't be light about it. And with me addressing how race impacts how people experience the environment and have a clear picture of how racism exists, in that way and through other parts of our society. It's people in Tennessee that are from all different backgrounds and don't want to have any part of that or the current administration. And that's the reason why our momentum has continually begun to move towards a direction to make sure that we win this U.S. Senate seat. Because we're all working people and we want everyone to have access to this America.
Yeah, I think that's well said. And finally, Marquita, I wanted to get your reaction to the news we learned this week. Only one officer involved in the killing of Breonna Taylor was charged with wanton endangerment and not in the direct killing of Breonna Taylor. Obviously, there have been protests in Louisville and 2 police officers there actually were shot. What's your reaction to the lack of charges, and what do you see as the next step forward as an activist?
First of all, I want to extend my condolences to Breonna's family and the people that loved her and that went to work with her every day. We have to remember that this is not a headline. This is a person's life that was taken too soon. And we have to actually address what's going on in our policing system. We need to federally ban no-knock warrants, period. And we just need to move away from that altogether because it is dangerous for civilians and it's dangerous for officers. This is a practice that we can put to bed so we won't have another child. I am a mother, another child have to go too soon.
And finally, where can people learn more about your campaign?
They can go to MarquitaBradshaw.com to learn more about the campaign. They can actually donate there and also get involved.
Thank you so much. It's so great to have you this morning.
Thank you.
We'll have more Rising for you after this.